Okay, so Bob Sullivan, a columnist from NBC News, wrote an article and it says that students can't resist distractions for 2 minutes and neither can you. And we're going to jump straight into my counter argument. Here it goes. Gadgets and gizmos are not the only irresistible distractions, it's our natural behavior. Now, the purpose of this video and my role is to contradict the original argument with an alternative counter argument. Let me start off with my premises. Sometimes we cannot control our emotional well being or our emotional brain. And distractions can be more than just technology. Some things are considered irresistibles when it comes to interfering with productivity, whether it's in the form of technology or a simple joke that keeps reoccurring in our thoughts while we're trying to focus on something or study or working. Now, when we talk about my pre-assumptions, logically, my counter can be very possible, but yet the logic is still a probability. It's not conclusive. So let's take a look at some scholarly sources, and found some work from author Joyner Thompson Jr. He said we have to back away from the brink of social media in order to expose the misuse. To paraphrase that, and why that is important in this research is important on social media is because it's actually being misused when it comes to studying, focusing while on the job, and doing things that pertain to deep thought and trying to stay focused. Like, it's hard to stay focused on the job when you are attached to your phone at the hip. Which leads me to my next scholarly resource, which is from My Job Social Media Policy from Sutter Health. It says no use of social media while delivering patient care and no use of electronic handheld devices or computers using social media while at work. Just think about it. What would it? What type of story would that paint for a facility, especially in healthcare, for a nurse to walk around with their phone, instant messaging, texting, Instagram, and using social media while they delivering care? It's just not appropriate. And now let's look at author Johnson Elizabeth, psychologist. She says when you examine the role of emotions in higher brain functioning, such as cognitive and decision making, you identify the emotional brains. Our emotions can take over our need to focus and can easily distract us. The reason why this is important is because let's just think about it. You are focused on something, and besides the use of cell phones and social media and everything, what if you just can't focus because emotionally you're not there? Or emotionally you were dealing with some type of traumatic incidents that happened. It could be a death in the family. It could be some financial issues. It could just be overall stress, and you just can't focus. Let's go over some logic reasoning. Let's just think of a quiet setting, like a library. When I go to the library and I try to focus, let's just say hour and a half to 2 hours. Most of that time isn't spent studying. Most of that time, no cell phone usage, no social media. I'm not even logged into a computer. It's just me, a book, and a notepad. But half the time, my mind is wandering, maybe thinking about some things that emotionally I just can't, I just can't block out. Like, it's overpowering my ability to think deeply. And now we want to revisit the policy from Sutter Health, and they said no cell phone uses during patient care and during at the nurse's station. Nah, I can see the patient care. Okay, you can't deliver some. Let's just say some medications you have to do an IV push, and it takes up to 2 or 3 minutes for you to administer this medication. There's no way you can do that and be on social media at the same time. Okay, so of course we're not even going to touch that subject, but logically thinking about it, okay, I can see why that's written in the policy. But now no cell phone use is at the nurse's station. Think about it. Family, emergencies come up. You need to be contacted. Let's just say your boss is asking you a question about something, and then you got to check your email, but you can't log into the system computers. You got to use your personal device. Okay, but as far as that distracting you from engaging into work, the users of cell phones, that's where the issue comes in at. Now let's think about it and put it in plain text. So they don't want you to use just have access to your cell phone, which has all your social media and stuff on there, and that's what they're saying. But then again, if you don't have access to your handheld device, which is considered some people's lifeline, where would your mind be? You'll be distracted. You'll be distracted. Maybe, I don't know, you got somebody picking up your kids at a certain time, and you don't have access to instant messaging, and you don't know what's going on. So then now you're disengaged from your job. So that's the argument there. Two sides of it. And it's contradicting what they say about making us smarter. And the smart thing to do with technology is to have it available. But then again, while at work and doing important tasks, it's not cool to have it. So in the initial article, it associates gadgets with being dumber, making us dumber. And I think that that's a weak statement. Gadgets aren't always necessarily making us dumber, and it's not always necessarily distracting us. I know from personal testimony, in order for me to focus on something as far as working on a paper or studying, I need to be engaged in multiple things at once, because I know that my mind actually shifts from one thing to the other. And in order to be engaged and not to lose focus completely, I need to have something as far as music playing, as far as I don't know, might check an email or something to sidetrack me, but not sidetrack me totally. So yes, there is a weakness in my argument. There is a weakness. So when we talk about the misuse of social media in a learning environment and learning setting, there needs to be more evidence. There needs to be more concrete proof, whether that's case studies. And another weakness I have is in the role that our emotional brain is playing while we're studying. Like, is it actually distracting us? So yes, it is weakness. I don't have enough evidence. I'm basing it all on presumptions and probability.